So I don't know if you guys heard about this story, but I'm recently finding out about this, and this happened a few years ago. This blew me away. So amazing. Even if you heard it before, I want to remind you again because you will be encouraged. Check it out.
A 10-year-old is abducted from right in front of his home in Atlanta, Georgia, only to be released a few hours later. And you will not believe how he got the kidnapper to let him go. Trace Gallagher knows. Trace?
He did it by singing, Megan. It really has become the song heard round the world, and police say it may very well have saved the life of 9-year-old Willie Myrick. Willie says he was in his front yard. He bent down to pick up some money, and that's when someone grabbed him, threw him in their car, and took off. Listen now to 9-year-old Willie Myrick.
I didn't know what he was doing until he, grabbed me. And he drove me off to East Point. He told me he wouldn't hear a word from me, so I ain't say nothing.
Oh, he didn't talk. Instead, he started singing a gospel song called Every Praise. Willie says the man cursed at him, telling him to shut up, but he kept singing for 3 hours until the man finally stopped the car and told him to get out. The boy ran to a nearby home, asked the homeowner to call his guardian. By that time, police were already canvassing the city and quickly picked him up, saying the song saved him. Now listen to Willie sing the song on a local radio station.
Every praise is to our God. Every word of worship with one accord. Every praise is to our God.
And he was saying, shut up.
Yeah.
Everybody's heard it. Willie Myrick even got to meet Hezekiah Walker, the Grammy winner who actually wrote Every Praise. Police still do not have any leads on the suspect. They're hoping the sketch we showed you earlier might generate some tips in this case.
Unbelievable. I love him. I want to know.
Do you understand how powerful praise and worship is and what it does? Praise and worship has the power to set the captives free. It's so important to not go by how we feel, because the trick of the enemy is to cause you to go based off of your feelings. And then we miss out on what God actually wants to do through our praise and worship. Praise and worship, it unlocks things, it breaks things. It's inviting the presence of the Lord into our space. So when this happened with this little boy, he was inviting the presence of God into that space. The enemy had no choice but to loose him, to deliver him, to set him free. Because we're not wrestling against flesh and blood. The weapons of our warfare are not carnal, but it's mighty through God to the pulling down of strongholds. So it's not a carnal thing. The enemy was behind that. The enemy was using this man to abduct this boy. But see, what the enemy didn't know is what this boy possessed and what was inside of him. This boy had an anointing, because it's one thing to praise and worship, but it's another to have the anointing and have the oil. How you get that is through intimacy with God. Praise and worship is having an intimate moment with God. It's not a religious thing, it's a relationship thing, it's a relational thing. So when you have a relationship with God, it gives you the opportunity to commune with God and to have intimacy with God. When you invite God into your atmosphere, when you invite God in whatever space that you're in, he starts to move on your behalf. And it's a sacrifice of praise.